In today's session, Archive Specialist Nancy Wing will show you tips on how to conduct genealogy research by navigating the National Archives website at www.archives.gov. Nancy's worked for the National Archives and Records Administration since 2004 as a librarian and as an archive specialist in Washington, D.C., and she's also worked as an archive specialist at our regional archives in Laguna Niguel, California. She has a bachelor's degree in history and a master's degree in library and information science. Nancy completed an internship at the Austrian National Library in Vienna. Her specialty is in records of genealogical interest with an emphasis on Civil War medicine. She thoroughly enjoys using her reference expertise to serve the public and considers good customer service to be of primary importance. She's a California native, and San Diego is her permanent home. Nancy?
Thank you so much, Nancy. Okay, let's get started. I think it's important to understand the National Archives as a whole, that we have 14 regional archives around the country, 13 presidential libraries, and also federal record centers, in addition to the different facilities that are here in the Washington metro area. The intent of my presentation today is an overview of NARA's website for resources to do your genealogy research. NARA has holdings of records that were created during the course of business with the federal government. Simply stated, the records are arranged by agency, putting them into record groups that are broken down into series, and then into files, and then into that special document that you're researching. Okay, so we have created a table for you here just to give you an overall view of what we're going to look at when I do the search during this presentation. Be familiar first, of course, with the home screen that you will see when you're at your home or in a public library and so forth. But if you are in a NARA facility, a National Archives facility, your computer in the facility will default to a different home screen. You will see the one on the right side. It says On-Site NARA Screen, Default. Okay, so there's two different home screens, you could say, depending on where you're doing your research. But they're all going to lead to research our records, and that is the upper left box that you find on the colorful home screen out there in the public arena. Now, let's realize that there is a level of research. We're going to look at these different levels, and the first level I've outlined is researching our records. There are various links that we're going to travel through, some more in detail than others, just to give you a little overview of what we have available on the website. Now, those of you who have used our ARC, the Archives Research Catalog, that of course has gone away recently, and so ARC is now part of the online catalog that you see on the left side there. But you can use your ARC numbers. If you still have ARC numbers available and you want to search for that ARC number, you can use the online public catalog, and by going to their advanced search feature and going to the bottom and using the search box down there, plug in your ARC number there, and you should still get the same type of information you got before. The next level we're going to look at is the Research Your Ancestry. And that is on the Research Our Records level, but we're going to dive into more of those links that you see here on my outline. Okay, so you can see the different levels of our website that I've created for you to help give you a better picture of where we're going. Now here we have the public website that we're used to seeing when we're not at a NARA facility. And first, I want to just take you on a little trip through our locations. All 5 of these boxes are very large topic areas, but our locations is a great one to find whether we have a location near you or a location that you may want to visit sometime down the road. Here is our locations nationwide. You can go to the box on the left and you can scroll down those locations to find the regional archives or NARA-type facility that you're interested in seeing. So I'm showing you as a scroll down. I'm going to go specifically to the National Personnel Records Center. It's very convenient because we're here in the locations area that this is one place you can find the National Personnel Records Center for civilian and military records. Just to take a peek here at the Center for Civilian Records. There's the one for the military records. You can go to those websites and specifically submit requests for copies of records, especially if they're World War I or World War II ancestors that you have. Now I'm going to go back to the Eagle's Wings. This is one method of getting back to the home page on the NARA website. So we're clicking on the Eagle's Wings and we're going back to our home page that you see out there in the public. I want to call your attention to the recent news bar in the center of our home page. This is a scrolling bar in here. The information changes. And today's bar is featuring the virtual genealogy fair. So if you keep watching it, you'll see it switch to the fair. And you can actually click into that link. Let's research a little further, and we're going to dive into the Research Our Records box. This is a screen for Research Our Records. The upper left box, there's 4 different larger boxes that you see up here, and the upper left one we're going to look at more in detail. The online catalog is going to be used more and more. This is where ARC has gone into. It is now part of the online catalog. I'm going to search for Civil War photographs in the online catalog. Now, what we have here is clusters of results. You're going to get 3 results in each cluster, and you will have more to view if they have found more hits. So the first cluster we see is anything for Civil War photographs that have to do with online holdings. There are over 7,000, as we can see here. If we scroll down to the next group, we have description-only records that were found for Civil War photographs. Further down, the archives.gov website, you're finding more hits here. There's 145 total, so you can view those if you wish to on the right side there. Just click on that link. And Civil War photographs, I was surprised to see presidential libraries have some Civil War photographs. So you just never know. Searching on the online catalog can be very useful in finding different records. The last cluster is the authority records, and this is who created the records that you're seeing. Now, there are more further information on the left side, the left column of the screen that you can explore later on, but I wanted just to give you a feeling for the clusters that are featured within the online catalog. I'm going to scroll back up, and I'm going to go back to Research Our Records, and you can do that by using Research Room. The next section we have under the search online is online research tools and ways to search online. Now, this is a cluster of different search tools that have been put onto one page if you have use for that. And this is just a bird's eye view of what is in that link. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. You're going to see the online catalog that we just explored. You'll see the microfilm catalog, access to archival databases, the ALEC, the library, and the Guide to Federal Records. Scrolling back up, top of the page, we're going to go back to research our records. Now, off and on, you're going to see that those colored boxes on the home page are carried through to some of the other screens. So if you have those available, why not use them? Instead of using the eagle's wings, I can go right back to research our records, which I'm going to do. Microfilm catalog. We still have an awful lot of microfilm out there that's being used, and even though it is being digitized as we speak, you might want to search the microfilm catalog to see if there is going to be some help for you in your research. Now, I've already plugged in here on this search, the New York passenger list right there. We're going to search for New York passenger lists. I did that because I know there would be a lot of results on that because there were a lot of immigrants who came through the Port of New York. And here is our results page. The microfilm catalog features microfilm publications that begin with numbers such as A, M, or T. As you can see, there are several microfilm M237, so they have continued a lettering system with A, B, C, and D. And the first one that we're going to look at is the 1 through 200. 200 rolls in this section. Again, we see that the title matches what we were just looking at on the hit before, and we have our record group number there. So that should you should keep familiar with record group numbers, because if you get into looking at textual records, they will become very, very valuable. Now, some researchers don't realize that you can go a little further with the microfilm catalog. Besides finding out that there is a microfilm roll in here that you may want to look at, you can also view your important publication details, and also notice down below the viewing locations. Different regional archives that I mentioned earlier have these microfilm rolls. So if you're going to have a need for being in another area, you may want to look at the rolls there, but I would suggest that you call ahead before you go, just to be sure that that film is there. Okay, so we're viewing the important details, and that takes us into what we call a DP, a descriptive pamphlet. Most of these are set up the same way, but not all microfilm have descriptive pamphlets. It just depends on the microfilm we're looking at. Here we have the passenger lists arriving into New York. They do have the title page, which is a standard thing you're going to see on the DPs. You're going to see an introduction to the rolls of microfilm, what's on them, how they're arranged, and a little background information about them. And then the meat of all of this is to find your rolls of microfilm that you're looking for. Some of these may be arranged, especially passenger lists, by dates. They could be named by, or arranged by the ship names, or they could be arranged by the last names of the passengers. So to get out of the DP, descriptive pamphlet, we're going to go to our little X and go back. And now we're going back to archives.gov, our homepage for the public, and back into research our records. I'm showing you it this way just so you get a feeling for bouncing around a little bit. We're not bouncing too far. Now, I might interject that you're going to see links to a number of web pages on here that will be duplicated other places, but I'm keeping you on one path here so you can get familiar with the one path, and then you can explore later as you get more comfortable in your research. So here we go back to Research Our Records. We just saw the microfilm catalog. Let's take a look at access to archival databases, known as AAD. This has been on our website for some time. Now, I bring this to your attention because it does feature genealogy and personal history areas that may help you in your research. I'm pointing to the passenger lists, and I bring this up because sometimes even an ancestry, family search, some of these other databases, if it's not indirect or indexed the way you wish to find that name, then you're not going to find it. You can have some brick walls. This is just another database that you can use to research your passenger list. Now, you will not see the images on here, but you will see the textual information, which can be helpful. This is a view of the passenger lists and the databases that we have in AAD. If some of you are familiar with, such as some of the books, let's see, Germans to America, the Italians to America, this is what we have done. These volumes are in the search databases. Now, to search these, what I do is search the middle link here. And when you get in there, you're going to, if you find the person you wish, then you can write down the manifest header data file, write that number down, and go back out of the search, and then search for the manifest header data file, putting that number in that you just took from the first one. Alrighty, so now we're back again to the Research Our Records, Guide to Federal Records. We do have these in published volumes, but the published volumes have been around a while, and you will find much more up-to-date information using the online version. And you can search the online version by using a keyword or keywords, or you can search it by, if you have the record group number, go ahead and go in to the record group by putting that number in and hitting, clicking on go. We're looking at the General Land Office now. I'm just doing an example for you to search the General Land Office records. And here's the type of results that you'll find when you do search the guide. We're going to click on Records of the Bureau of Land Management, BLM. And of course, those records are also on the BLM website. There are a number of them. If you go ahead and Google BLM GLO, General Land Office, you will go to their website for land records. And this is what it looks like as far as finding this part of the Guide to Federal Records, Records of the Bureau of Land Management. You can click into those blue numbers and get more information on those different records. Going back to Research Our Records. Now, if you're coming to Washington or if you're coming to NARA, period, you need to be prepared before you come to do your research. If you're wondering whether you can use a scan or any type of question you may have, hopefully we're answering your questions if you click into this link. Here's your information here that you would see. We've also developed a list of our online partner websites that have been digitized. And you can see that list by going to this part of our screen on the digitization. Just to give you a bird's eye view, here is the screen for that, and I'm going to scroll down and just show you the top part. Lots of microfilm and other records have been digitized so far. And if you want to see what has, you can look at this list that we are keeping as up to date as possible. And if you want to search it, a little easier, I think if you use, as a hint, use your Control F for find and put in your keyword in the find box that comes up, and then search that way. If you're just looking for something that has to do with land or immigration or something like this, it may be an easier way than reading through all of these because it's small print and the list is very long. But that's a good thing. I'm going back out of this part of the website. If you're new to archival research, you may want to glance at this part of the Research Our Records. Again, researching in person. We have many links here that you might want to familiarize yourself with before you get here. And if you're not researching an ancestor specifically, you just want information about a topic, you have that option too on the Research Our Records screen. Researching military records, this is one-stop shopping going into this link, and you can find out lots of information about military records. Ordering copies of records, you can use this link or you can use the Contact Us link in the upper right corner of our website. Either one of them will take you to the correct area for ordering copies of records. Now here I've gone into that link, and just to give you an idea of how it looks, obtaining copies of records, you need to read through this and figure out what would be the best option for you to use to order those or to get further information. And that page does go down a little bit. And we're going to go back up. Back to Research Our Records. And now the granddaddy of them all, research your ancestry. We're going to really get focused now into ancestral research and seeing the options that we have on that screen. Start your genealogy research. If you're brand new to genealogy research with NARA, you may want to familiarize yourself with this link and the information to get yourself off to a good start. And this is the screen for that. The PowerPoint tutorial on the right side is very, very helpful. So I would suggest that you use that if you are brand new or just interested in seeing. We might have some information here that's new to you, and you thought you were familiar with everything, but it might raise a flag for you. Reference reports. We have reference reports that have been developed here by the archivists and archive specialists, and these are developed to help make your research easier, we hope. We have digitized a number of these online. Hopefully there will be more digitized down the road, but I wanted to call your attention to this. Let's just look at the ones for the census. Here are census reference reports, including the non-population and other, there are mortality schedules, more than just the standard U.S. federal census that is done every 10 years. I'm clicking into the federal non-pop census schedules, going a little further to show you a reference report that we have online. So good information to help you further your research in looking into more census schedules than just the U.S. federal census that everyone knows about. Okay, we're going to go back out of this, and I'm going to go back again out of it. And we are kind of deep into this, so we're going to go back one more. Genealogy events in the Washington, D.C. area. There are also, just above that, as you can see, the genealogy workshops nationwide. If you're going to be in an area where there's a regional archives, you might want to check out their calendar to see if they have something that would be of interest to you when you're in that area. But here in Washington, we have a wonderful program, Know Your Records program, that is pretty much ongoing. All kinds of good topics for you to listen to experts on. The Researcher News is a publication that was developed within the genealogy area, and there are two different links to it there for you. And if you're interested in actually subscribing to that, you can do that. Join the Researcher News mailing list and click into that link, and you can be on our mailing list and receive the Researcher News when it comes out. So right now we have the August issue or autumn issue, and so it's only been out for, I guess, a week or two. And there it is, announcing our genealogy fair, which all you folks are watching right now. So let's go back. And we're going to go back again. I do want to let you know that the Researcher News is packed full of wonderful stuff and brings you up to date on what we have here at NARA, what has transpired since the last time as far as microfilm, what's going on in the genealogy field within NARA. So it'll bring you right up to date, and it shows our program schedule. There's all kinds of information that you would enjoy, I'm sure. I'm going back now to, this is our Research Your Ancestry links that we had. It's named on this page as Resources for Genealogists. More topics. This is one of my little pet things, so I like this little link because it will take you further into more ethnicity type of research. If you're wondering about your Native American ancestors or Japanese heritage, that sort of thing, we have broken down research links into ethnicities to help make your research a little easier. So you might want to take a peek at this and see if it's going to take you a little further, or maybe give you better information or more information to give you a better lead to do some research. Now I'm going to go further out of this again. We were kind of deep into this one. Tools for genealogists. Free databases at the National Archives facilities. This link will show you that we have Ancestry, Fold3, and Heritage Quest. Those are the 3 genealogy databases that you can use at any NARA facility for free. Of course, you can also use the Family Search and Castle Garden and Ellis Island in addition to those. Subscription databases that we have at NARA facilities are further down also. I'm going down the page a little bit just to give you an idea what else there is. I call your attention to ProQuest Direct. A lot of libraries out there have subscriptions to ProQuest, and we feature the Historical Washington Post and the New York Historical Times. But in your area, you may have the New York Times, but your library may have also a leading newspaper. If you're in Los Angeles, you would very well have subscriptions at your libraries to something like the LA Times or its predecessor. I like using newspapers for research. They can really open up a whole new field for you in doing your research. The next thing we have is the online catalog guide to genealogists. Now this is replacing the guide that we had on here for ARC, for doing genealogy using ARC. So you might want to familiarize yourself with that because it's focusing with the online catalog just for genealogy. We talked about the online catalog earlier, and this is what I'm referring to. The guide for genealogists and family historians. That's how that page reads. And lots of good information we hope that will help you out. Genealogy-related articles. The National Archives has its own publication known as Prologue. Every Prologue issue in the more recent time has a section in it called Genealogy Notes. These are articles that were written by genealogy specialists, by archivists and folks from the outside who have sent in articles to be published. And I think, here we go, genealogy notes. These are all into topics for you. Some of the topics have a lot more information than others. As you can imagine, the topic of Civil War is going to be broken down into a lot of other types of links for you. But you might want to explore these links because they can maybe help you with your research on records and knowing more about on the background of your research. Because we try to go the full thing. I mean, you write an article about Civil War medicine, you're going to give you an intro about Civil War medicine, and then show you how to do Civil War medicine research as far as the medical records of the Civil War. Here's just an idea or an example of the census articles that have been written. So you can see how many there are available here, and we're going to go back now. The eagle's wings, again, are going to take us to our home page for NARA. And A to Z index. Here, if you're still a little bit lost in what I've been trying to help you with, you can always go to the index at the bottom of the home page. This index is all links to different sections of the site. The Archives Library Information Center is located in College Park, and you can click on their link and find information about genealogy there too. And I'm going to direct you in that area. We're on the library's webpage. If you go to Reference at your desk and then scroll down, there is a link for genealogy. So you might want to look at some of those links within genealogy and explore some more. It's going to open a whole new field for you to do your research and expand and maybe find some more possibilities for getting copies of records, or at least understanding what may and may not be out there. I'm going to hit again the eagle's wings, click on that, and go back to the archives homepage. And just call your attention that the archives does have blogs available. If you click on the blogs, there are 2 different blogs that have to do with genealogy. So if you scroll down, narrations will take you into those. Click on narrations, and those 2 links that I was mentioning on Genealogy, Family Tree Fridays, and Genealogy Family History. You may want to read the discussions in these. Again, that's further information to help you in your research. Okay, and we are back to the NARA homepage. And it's been a real pleasure. I hope that I have given some good information to help you get along in your research. And I think I need to open it up for questions.
Thank you, Nancy, so much. That was excellent. We do have a question here. She wants to know about the newsletter. They missed the link on where to find, I believe they're talking about Researcher News. How do we find Researcher News online?
Okay, you can go to Research Our Records and then go to Research Our Ancestry. And then I don't have the web in front of me, so it's down in the right side. And I don't remember the exact link, but it'll take you into Researcher News. The 2 different links that you can find for it. Or you can just go to the search box on the homepage if you want to. Type in Researcher News, and you'll get some hits, and click into those.
Thank you so much, Nancy. We have one more question, not to put you on the spot. Your PowerPoint, will that become available? Do we have your permission to put that online, your PowerPoint presentation?
Yes, you do.
Thank you. We will work on putting your PowerPoint presentation online on the Genealogy website. Thank you again.